This is Sirach chapter 24, verse 23. All these things are the book of the covenant of the Most High God, even the law which Moses commanded for an heritage unto the congregation of Jacob. Kohalo Yahweh Bahashem, Hamashiach Wamalaki Hawashah. Forgive me the spirit and power to do this lesson. Shema Yasharala, Yahweh Allahaya Nawa Yahweh Akkad. That is Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 4. What we're going to touch on today is the title of the lesson, I believe, is Judging Your People and the Nations. Judging your people and the nations. That's something we have to learn how to do. Because think about it. When we go to the wilderness, for all the ones that go to the wilderness, you got to be worthy enough to be able to bring out precepts and teach the ones that don't know the glory of the Most High God. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about after I get these two precepts. I'm going to go straight to that. These couple precepts, then I'm going to go straight to that. But we will be judging our own people and we will be judging the nations, right? And honestly, this ain't in a lesson, but this is a precept that I just thought of just now. And this is what Yahushua said to Peter. And I just, like I said, this ain't in a lesson. I just thought of it just now. I think it's Matthew 28. Let me see. All right, Luke 22 and 30. Check this out. This is Luke chapter 22 and verse 30. Luke chapter 22 and verse 30. And Yahushua says, verse 29, and I appoint you unto you a kingdom as my Father have appointed unto me, that ye may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, when we go into the word judgment, judgment don't always mean it's bad. Everything is bad. Oh my God, judgment. No, judgment there is good judgments of the Lord too, right? The Lord giving us the kingdom of heaven, that is a judgment. He giving us a good judgment. Like when you go into the blue letter for the word judgment, it goes, let me pull it up. You go into the blue letter for the word judgment. Oops, judgment is not always bad, man. Where are you at? Give me 1 second to pull this up. Okay. Okay. So when we go to, I went to Judges chapter 4 and 5, and the blue letter. Let me pull it up on my screen. So, Lucky, that's my fault. Share my screen. The word is mishpat, right? Right? And the word is judgment. See? Judgment, justice, ordinance. Now, when you go into this word, it says judgment, manner, right, cause, ordinance, lawful, whatever is lawful, whether it's good or bad, order, worthy, fashion, custom, discretion, right? You using discretion in a situation, you measuring a situation, right? Or sentence, right? It does not always mean judgment is just like condemnation, man, right? So we got judgment, justice, ordinance, act of deciding a case, place, court, seat of judgment, process, a procedure, litigation before judges, a case cause presented for judgment. Now, like I said, it's not always bad because when a judge, sometimes, you win the case. And if you win the case, that means that's a good judgment for you, right? And this is how we will be with our people. When we judging our people, we're going to be making sure that everything is accordingly. Now, the laws is going to be on our inward parts, but we're going to be setting up judgment calls as in making sure that the kingdom get established, making sure this happens, making sure that happens, man. Making sure our people is ruling in righteousness. No, even though our people are going to be ruling in righteousness, but you have the 144, which is the governing body of the nation of Israel right under Yahushua. Those are the governors, the judges of the world, man. right, that's going to go follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. I like the precept say. All right, let me pull that up right quick. I guess I can just pull it up on my, since I already got it. All right, so this is Revelation 14 and 4. It says, these are they which were not defiled with women. Right, let me start up. It says, I'm going to start at 1. Right, and it said, with him 144,000. Give me 1 second. All right, Con. So let's go back to it. Salaki, that was my fault. I had to deal with the kiddos. So Revelations 14 and 1, and I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on Mount Zion. And the lamb, it goes back to John 1 and 1 and 29, which is the Yahweh Shah. Behold, the lamb which taketh away the sins of the world. It says, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heavens as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder, and I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. It says, and they sung as it were a new song before the throne. Now, when we're talking about a new song, this is not talking about literally a new song. This is talking about the song of Moses, right? That it talks about in Exodus chapter 32, I believe it is. Exodus, Salakia, not Exodus, Deuteronomy 31. Right, so when it says they sung a new song, it's just talking about Deuteronomy chapter 31, not Exodus 31. Because if you read verse 22, it says right here, Moses therefore wrote this song, taught it to the children of Israel. And he gave Joshua the son of Nun a charge and said, be strong and of good courage, for thou shalt bring the children of Israel into the land which I swore unto them, and I will be there with thee. So it says, and it came to pass when Moses had made an end of writing the words of this law in a book until they were finished. So this song that it's talking about is talking about the law, statutes, commandments, right? The Torah, right? So when we go back to Revelation chapter 14, when it says they sung a new song, this is talking about the laws being on their inward parts, right? It's a refreshed new. When it says new, it's just like saying new covenant. It's a refreshed covenant. It's the same covenant. We're not going to get new laws written on our heart. It's going to be the same laws. It's just going to be refreshed. So it says, and they sung as it were a new song, right? A refreshed song, which is the law of Moses, right? Before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song, but the 144,000, which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women. When it's talking about woman, this is not talking about literal women. This is talking about being defiled by certain doctrines. If you've ever read the book of Proverbs, then you will understand this is not talking about literal women. Because if that's the case, none of us is going to make it. Because we all been defiled by women. Right? So it says, for they are virgins. Right? And when you go into the blue letter for when you go into the blue letter for the word virgin, it's a woman, but it's also a man. Right? When you see the word virgins, a man can be a virgin too. And we're not talking about that kind of virgin. We're talking about a woman that's espoused to Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, man. So it says, look, a virgin is a virgin, a marriageable maiden, a woman who has never had sexual intercourse with a man, a marriageable daughter, a young woman, And it says, a man who has abstained from all uncleanness and whoredom attend on idolatry, and so has kept his chastity. So this is a man that when he came into the knowledge of the truth, we're not talking about when you was in the world. We're talking about when you come into the knowledge of the truth, you're not being attended with whoredom or any uncleanness, which is these other doctrines. You stand solid. The moment you came into the truth, you solid for the rest of that time. So that's what this virgins is talking about. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goes. So this 144,000, these men are going to follow Yahushua everywhere he go and establish righteousness on the earth. Right? These are the ones that's going to go from city to city, nation to nation, plundering it and making sure that the law is put forth. Right? And it says these were redeemed from among men. Right? These were redeemed from among men. So the men that the Lord has set up, there's 144,000 in America, man, that the Lord has set up, and he chosen to reestablish the earth. This is why I'm doing this lesson over us being judges, because you have to make sure you're ready to be a judge. You're ready to, you able to teach, right? It's watching videos is very important. Going out to camp is very important because you have to practice these things. It's not just about to hop on you and then you know everything and you teaching the nations. Now you got to build yourself up for that. The Lord got to see practicing. He got to see you practicing, right? So it says these were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb, right? The first ones that he chose to, to rule the world. It says, and out of their mouth was found no guile, right? And this is them being justified before the Most High God. If you read Romans chapter 8, it says, for they are without fault before the throne of God. And it's not saying that, because we know, according to the scriptures, everybody sins. All of us are chains of darkness. Everybody sins. Everybody goes off. But the Most High has justified certain men on this earth to be his elect, his 144K, which is a beautiful thing. If you read Romans chapter 8, let me get there right quick. Romans 8. So in Romans chapter 8 and where we at? Right here. It says, right here, 28. It says, and we know that all things work together for good, right? It says, for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose, right? For whom he did foreknew, he also predestinate to be conformed to the image of his son. Remember, that's what we reading. That's what we was just reading in Revelation 14, right? Following the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. That's in the spirit and then pretty soon physically. But it says that he might be the firstborn among many brethren, the first fruits, firstborn. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them also he called. And whom he called, them he also what? Justified. And whom he justified, them he also glorified. And that's them being 144K, a part of that 144,000. But the Lord has justified 144,000 men, and they're going to be without fault before him. They are right now. They're without fault. Even though he's punishing them for, certain things that they do, or he's putting them through things, certain things, they are justified before him. They are ordained to make it all the way to the end. And they are going to make it all the way into the end so that they can be these judges on the earth. Straight up. And it's just like that. So you have, going back to the blue letter for judge or judgment, mispot, and you have all these terms: case, cause, sentence, decision of judgment, execution of judgment, time of judgment, justice. You establishing justice in the earth. Because what does it tell you in Proverbs chapter 29? Let's get it right quick. Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Right? Everybody's not going to be all going bugging out and going crazy that the Israelites are coming back into rulership, which is the blacks, Hispanics, and native descent. No, they're actually going to rejoice over that. The first 1,000 years, they're going to get their ass whooped. I mean, that's just what it is. That's righteousness. That's part of righteousness. Why do I say that? It's just this simple. Because the scriptures say so. Right here. Right here. This is Second Thessalonians chapter 2, Salakia, 2 Thessalonians chapter 1 and 6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with God to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. So that's part of the righteousness too, is getting them back for what they did to us. But after that, we're going to give all the nations back their land, and we're going to make sure that they're governed under, starting with the 144,000, starting with Yahushua and the 144,000, and the laws that's written on their inward parts. They're going to teach the nations, right? But you gotta, I mean, it's kind of, I ain't gonna sit here and say you're gonna know who the elect is, you know who the 144K is, but they out here putting in work, and that's for sure. They out here gritting. They out here doing, you can just see it on them. I'm not saying that's solidified, but you can see how somebody could be. And it's just that simple, man. Ain't no way you the 144K and you over here talking about you don't gotta go out to the highways to teach. You don't gotta go out to the highways and do the work. That's a disobedient servant. Because of course you keeping the law, statutes, commandments, teaching brothers at work, teaching brothers at Quick Trip, wherever you are, of course, that's mandatory. But you are specifically called, chosen to go out to the highways and byways and teach, man. As a camp, like Yahushua and his camp. And that's what, bro, if you read most of Yahushua's parables, half of them is going out to the highways and byways. Matthew 22, go out and bid them to the marriage. That's going out to the highways and byways. Luke 14, the servant that, Salakia, I think I'm thinking of two of them, where it said that they made the servant angry. They all had excuses, and the Lord was like, hey, go out there and bid them to the marriage. That's two. Bro, it's so many. You got the parable of the talents, right? You got so many parables that Yahushua is going over. He's repeating, but they all have the same meaning, and that's go out and teach the word of God, man. So yes, you do have to go out to the highways and byways to do the work. The work starts with the law, but that's how you let your light shine, by going out there. You already doing the law. You going out there and being a light to the rest of your people by teaching them. That's crazy as hell to say that you don't have to go out to the highways and byways to teach. I mean, to do the work. That's crazy. And it's even more crazy that at one point in time, you knew that, but then all of a sudden, you don't agree with brothers in certain areas. Now, that's not the only way. Just to be damn variance, man. That's all it is. And that's a manifestation of the flesh. You want to be variance. You want to be different from your brothers. That's all it is. We doing the same thing when you was with us, and when you wasn't with us, we doing the same thing. You doing something different. So you got to figure out and examine yourself and see what you doing is right or if it's not. And that's just what it is, man. We doing the same thing. What are we supposed to do different? The spirit is growing out here, but what are we supposed to be doing different? Highways and byways, man. That's what we're supposed to be doing consistently. Right? So going back to let me pull it up on. All right, so let's get this. So this is Sirach chapter 46, and I'm gonna read 16. Yeah, sorry, 46. So 46 and 14. It says, by his faithfulness, he was found a true prophet, and by his word, he was known to be faithful in vision. Hold on, is this what I want? Is this all right? 46? No. Oh, I think this is it. One second. I don't know how this is different. So Sirach 46 and 14, what I got in the KJV, it says, by the law of the Lord he judged the congregation, and the Lord had respect unto Jacob. So that's the point I wanted to get. I don't know where that was going. I don't know how that was different. But it says by the oops, I know what it was. I was being hasty. Right here, 14. It says right here, by the law of the Lord he judged the congregation, and the Lord had respect unto Jacob. So for you to say that you don't have to go out to the highways and byways to do the work, our work is to finish the will of what Yahweh set up. So that's how when we go out there, we're judging the people. We're judging the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. We're trying to get them to come back to righteousness. We're trying to establish the Lord's justice in the earth, the Lord's judgment. It's not our judgment, right? But it says by the law of the Lord, he judged the congregation. That's how we judge our people, by God's decisions, right? By the Most High, God's, Yahweh's decision making, right? An act of deciding a case, because all of them are, they in court right now. The world is a court. The world is a judgment arena, right? And that's what it tells you. That's what it tells you in the scriptures. Look, let me get it right quick. In Ecclesiastes. This is Ecclesiastes. Let me pull it up on her since I'm already. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and 16, it says, and moreover, I saw under the sun. We talking about S-U-N, not S-O-N. So we talking about the literal sun. It says, and moreover, I saw the sun, the place of judgment. So the earth is just a big ass judgment arena, and that's why it's getting worse and worse, because the Lord's he's starting to judge his people. He's starting to judge the world, man. But he's starting with his people. If you read precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. If you read First Peter 4, right? The Lord already told us that he was going to start with his people. Why? Because we are the judges of the earth, and we're not doing it right. We don't even want to be judges, man. We want to do everything else except what the Lord set us up to be. So this is what he said right here, 1 Peter 4 and 17, for the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of God. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel? Right? So judgment got to begin with us first. That's why you seeing Jake doing these crazy ass things, man. They in these crazy ass situations, right? That's why you see a woman, she'll kill somebody, and everybody's affected by it. You got the woman, she's being judged because she's going to prison for the rest of her life. The person that she killed, they're dead. That's a judgment. And the people that's around them, that's close to them, both parties, the woman and the dead person, they're getting judged by having to deal with that. Judgment is somebody dying around you too, right? Somebody you love dearly, they die. That's judgment. So reading it again, and moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there. And this is talking about this place. Wickedness is exceedingly great. And the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there, right? And this is where it's supposed to be. It says, I said in mine heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work, right? And that's why you see that things are happening, in the earth for the righteous and the wicked, right? He's judging the righteous and righteousness by, coming through for us first, establishing us with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, because we need it, man. That's a righteous judgment. The Lord judged us by giving us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding so that we can understand things. We can understand things now like this. I'll give you an example. Definitely have to do a part 2 of this, though. But Proverbs 21 and 11, it says, when the scorner is punished, the simple is made wise. And when the wise is instructed, he receiveth knowledge. The righteous man wisely considered the house of the wicked, but God overthroweth the wicked for their wickedness. So when we look at them, we understand that they're being judged, and we understand that we don't want to be a part of that judgment. You're like, hell no, I don't want that. People are dying in the craziest ways, man. People are being thrown in cars and thrown and being buried 12 feet deep, and they just in the car just smothering, dying. You got all kind of. I just read 2 articles of one of them, a man, he beat his 5-year-old autistic son to death with a bat. These are crazy judgments that's going on in the earth, and guess what? It's only gonna get worse. It's only gonna get worse. The Lord's judgments are only gonna get worse, man. Right? But it says that in Proverbs 21, it says the righteous man wisely considered the house of the wicked, but God overthroweth the wicked for their wickedness. And we get to sit back and watch, man. And sometimes you don't want to hear about it, you don't want to see it, but we have. I mean, this is what it is. This is to keep us in order, keep us in line. Straight up, man. Everything has its purpose. Every single thing has its purpose. Right? So you have, going back to judgment, you got case, cause, presented for judgment, sentence, decision of judgment, right? Which the Lord does. He causes these decisions to happen. If you read, let me see if I can pull up Wisdom of Solomon. Check this out. So this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and 6. For wisdom is a loving spirit and will not acquit a blasphemer of his words. For God is witness of his reins and a true beholder of his heart, which is your mind, and a hearer of his tongue. So the Most High hear and see everything that you're doing, right? Even your thoughts. He know what you're thinking. For the spirit of the Lord filleth the world. This is how he judged him, because his spirit filleth the world. The Lord make a pipe fall on your head. That's him filling the world, his spirit filling the world. He can make anything happen at any time. And that which containeth all things have knowledge of the voice, of his voice, right? Therefore, he that speaketh unrighteous things cannot be hid. Neither shall vengeance, when it punisheth, pass by him, right? Just because you look at a wicked ass nigga and ain't nothing happening to him, we literally just read in Ecclesiastes 3 where it said in verse 17, I said in my heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked. For this is the point, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. They are going to get their judgment. And you just pray that you're not a part of it. Because the Bible do talk about you dying with somebody through their folly, through the dumb shit that they doing, you die with them. That's why we have to depart from all wicked people, man. Who cares how close you was to them? If they being wicked, you supposed to be a light to them. If they don't want to come they don't want to see that light and come closer to that light, and you got to move, man. Let them dwell in darkness. Let them enjoy the fruitful works of darkness. Right? But it says for verse 9 is the point. Wisdom of Solomon 1 and 9. For inquisition, now I want to show you this real quick. What inquisition is. Inquisition is simply investigation. Inquisition, a period of prolonged and intensive questioning or what? Investigation. Interrogation, questioning, quizzing, a judicial or official inquiry. So when we go back to the Wisdom of Solomon 1, so we can replace inquisition with investigation. For investigation shall be made into the counsels of the ungodly. So the Lord is up there making judgment calls each and every day. He's allowing the angels to do this and allowing the angels not to do this. He's causing this to happen. He's causing that to happen. You read Sirach chapter 39. The Lord controls everything, man. Everything. Like I was watching this video the other day of this little boy, man, the way he was acting. Look, I'm going to just see if I can pull it up right quick. Give me 1 second. And I want to show y'all this. And I'm going to show you this little boy is a spirit of vengeance. I want to show y'all this right quick. And y'all gonna be like, oh, what the fuck? But it's a necessary spirit. You can call it, you can say whatever you want, but this is a necessary spirit that the Lord set up. So like it, them as images. I want the video. What is this? Me versus grandma. All right. Let's see that. That's my point. My point is that did you hear what he said? He said, "Why the is you touching my stuff, B? I will fucking kill you." This boy is like 5 years old, and you would think like how can a little boy be so vengeful? Like he's so angry. But this is a creation of the Lord. The Lord made that little boy like that because the Lord is going to use that little boy when he gets older to punish people, man. Look, this was 5 years ago, so he's 10 now. Or, he probably, he's 5 in the video. This was 5 years ago. So he probably 10, 15 years old now. He probably doing his thing now. It's on. And the Lord is using him for a vengeful spirit. Sirach 39. Come on now. Let's be real here. That is a vengeful spirit that the Lord is going to use. He's going to use it. But it says for Wisdom of Solomon 1:9, for inquisition shall be made into the counsels of the ungodly. Investigation shall be made into the counsels of the ungodly. And the sound of his word shall come unto the Lord for the manifestation of his wicked deeds. So there is no running, there's no hiding. The angels are watching everything we do. And there's a council in the heavens, an investigation, which we just went to what an investigation is. It's an interrogation. So this is the accuser. This goes back to Zechariah. This goes back to Zechariah chapter 3. And look. And I know that was crazy, man. When I first seen it, I was like, boy, I would, boy, that little dude wouldn't be doing that. I'm gonna just tell you that. But it says Zechariah 3:1, and he shewed me Joshua the high priest. The high priest, Joshua the high priest, is symbolic for the nation of Israel, standing before the angel of the Lord, and Satan standing at his right hand to resist him. This is our accuser. This is the one that's in the midst of the interrogation, accusing you. It says, and the Lord said unto Satan, the Lord rebuked thee, O Satan, even the Lord that hath chosen Jerusalem rebuked thee. Is not his brand plucked out of the fire? This is talking about the 1/3, the elect. Satan having his way with the rest of them. He's accusing them and they being judged, man. So Satan is winning a lot of cases when it comes to the 2/3. Right? That's why it talks about them having this filthy garment on. Straight up, man. So let's go back to Wisdom of Solomon. So it says, for inquisition shall be made into the counsels of the ungodly, and the sound of his words shall come unto the Lord for the manifestation of his wicked deeds. And you know what this goes back to? Precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. Let's go to Job chapter 35. I believe it's Job 35 or 33. I'm going to try 33 first. Okay. So Job chapter 33 and verse right here. It says, I'm starting at 18. He keepeth back his soul from the pit and his life from perishing by the sword. He is chastened also with pain upon his bed. We know who does this. We know when we go back to Job chapter 1 and chapter 2, we know Satan is the one who did that. Skin for skin, all that a man have, will he give for his life. This is Satan, doing his side of the deal, trying to make Job crack, right? But it says, in the multitude of his bones with strong pain, so that his life abhorred bread and his soul dainty meat. So Job did not want to eat because of the pain that he was going through. His flesh is consumed away that it cannot be seen, and his bones that were not seen stick out, right? He's starting to get real skinny. Yeah, his soul drive near unto the grave, and his life to the destroyers. It says, if there be a messenger with him, and when you go to the word messenger, it goes back to angel, angelos. That's what messenger mean, angel, right? So if there be an angel with him, an interpreter, somebody to vouch for him, like we read in Wisdom of Solomon 1, it says for inquisition, investigation, interpreter. That's what a lawyer does. He interprets for you, right? So it says, Salakia. It says, if there be a messenger with him, an interpreter, an angel, one among 1,000 to shew unto man his uprightness. This is this interrogation that's going on. And sometimes you will have an angel, he'll say this. Then he is gracious unto him and said, to deliver him from going down to the pit, I have found a ransom. Meaning the Lord approved it. The Lord said that this man can live because there's your actions, your wicked deeds, and your good deeds have been weighed in the dust of the balance, man. What you did is being weighed by the Lord and, by the angels. The angels are watching and they're going back and reporting what you're doing and what you ain't doing. If you read Jeremiah 17, angels are reporting everything. It says the sin of Judah, verse 1, the sin of Judah is written with a pen of iron and with the point of a diamond. It is graven upon the table of their hearts and upon the horns of your altars. So your heart is your mind. It just don't feel right when you adultery just don't feel right. I don't give a damn how bad you want that girl. When you popping her, it's when you popping her or when you done, you gonna know you did wrong. You gonna know it. You're like, man, this is somebody's wife. That's because the angels, it says the sins of Judah is written with the pen of an iron. Imagine writing something down with iron, a hot iron pen. It's encrusted in there, man. You're not getting that out. It's like when men sleep with other men's women, you don't get that out of your head. That's something you have to live with. Why? Because the angels are writing that on your heart. So when it's time to judge you, you will know why you're being judged. It says, and with the point of a diamond. Imagine a diamond being chiseled to look like a diamond. It takes a lot of work, man. And you not getting that out, man. It says, and you can't mess up. It says it is graven upon the table of their hearts, which is your mind, and upon the horns of your altars. So the angels, they writing everything down on your mind to make sure you understand why you're dying. And like I always say, anybody that ever think of what they did good when they're dying, they don't. They think about all the bad they done when they dying. Why? Because of Jeremiah 17:1. Straight up. It's been their sins, their iniquities is written on their heart, so they know why they're dying. Straight up. Where we at? Wisdom of Solomon. We done with that. Wisdom of Solomon. I believe we finished this. Yeah. So we got sentence, judgment, decision of judgment. And I'm gonna say this too. You make a judgment call every day that you wake up. Am I gonna wear these white shoes or am I gonna wear these red shoes? Am I gonna wear this white t-shirt or am I gonna wear this red t-shirt? This white t-shirt or this red t-shirt? Am I gonna wear this? That's judgment. Those are judgment calls. Calls for judgment. Straight up, man. And what you have to do is you have to pray that the Lord increases you with wisdom, man. And how do you get wisdom? How do you get wisdom? Because that's what you need. You need wisdom in order to judge your people, just like Solomon. Right? So how do you get wisdom? Let's go to it. You gotta excuse my baby. She on one. I'm pretty sure she got some sugar in her system. But this is Sirach chapter 1 and 26. If thou desire wisdom, keep the commandments, and the Lord shall give her unto thee. Straight up. If you want wisdom, to be able to judge your people, all right, you have to keep the commandments. You got to. That's the only way you're gonna be able to judge your people, man. That's how you know that brothers are keeping the commandments, because they are growing in wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, especially in these last days. The Bible says it's not hard to keep the commandments, so keep them. Stop trying to find every excuse to deviate around keeping this certain commandment or this certain law, because the law goes back to the Torah, and you got the commandments, as in the commandments that Paul gives you, the commandments that Yahushua most importantly give you, like going out to the highways and byways. That was a commandment from Yahushua. He said, go out, and he said, if you love me, go out and feed my people, feed my sheep. These niggas like, I don't see how you come up with this new way of doing the work, bro. That don't make no sense. You are a disobedient servant, man. You disobedient. You doing it your way. So read John 10:1, man. Read John 10:1. You doing it your own way. All right, so let's keep going. Let's go to since we already here in Sirach, let's go to Sirach chapter 10. So this is Sirach chapter 10:1. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered, because that's what it's about, order. Right? And this is for the men. You got to order your house. You got to make sure your house is established. And if the people that's there, they don't want to follow that order, then they don't need to be there. And that's exactly what the Lord does. The Lord gave you his mentality. The people that the 2/3, guess why they got to die? Because they don't want to follow orders. They don't want to get in line, so they got to go. And that's how you got to move. Whether it's men or women, if they don't want to follow the rules, they got to go. We can't insert children, because children gonna follow what the parents are doing in the house. But the scripture says a wise judge will instruct his people, right? You're going to instruct them how? By the law, statutes, and commandments. That's the only way you can be a judge. That is the only way you can be a judge, man. And guess what? Everybody can be a judge. Everybody cannot be a judge, man, because you got to know the Lord's judgments. And a lot of people, the Bible says in Jeremiah 8:7 that our people don't know the Lord's judgments. Here it is, they'll get punished for something, and they thinking, you know what I'm saying? They glorify in wickedness, man. When you hear those terms, I get it out the mud, I get it all, all this from rags to riches, right? That is wickedness, because that means you not learning your lesson. You didn't learn your lesson. We here for a punishment. You didn't learn your lesson, man. They glorify wickedness, man. That's our people. That is our people, and that's for sure. So it says, as verse 2, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. So you know what that goes back to? It goes right back to Proverbs chapter 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So now we see what's going on in the earth. We see why everybody's complaining about taxes. We see why everybody's complaining about this and about that, man. You know what everybody's complaining about, because the wicked are in a bearing rule right now. But when the righteous are in authority, which we are waiting on, whether me and you are part of that or not, we're going to be rejoicing. You know what I'm saying? Because the righteous are going to establish things of righteousness. In the kingdom, you're going to get what you earn, man. That's what Yahushua said. Let me get that. In the kingdom, you're going to get what you earn, man. Here, you will never get what you earn. Here it is. You looking for let's say $10,000. At the most, $10,000 back on your taxes. You'll probably get $8,000. Let's say you get $6,000. They got to get they shit out of it, right? But guess what? They done already took a whole $10,000 out of your taxes, man. You're supposed to get way more than what they showing you on that paper. Bro, that's wickedness, bro. That is complete wickedness, man. It ain't supposed to be like that. But Yahushua said he's going to give every man according to his work, man. Revelations 22:12. And this is red letter. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to give every man according to his work shall be, man. Not you working at a damn you working a decent job, you getting cuts, bruises, but you only getting $17 an hour. But you making all this money for the company, man, and you only making $17 an hour. Yahushua said, when I come, and that's judgment too. And Yahushua said, when I come, bro, I'm gonna make sure you get what you deserve, man. So if brothers ain't gritting, they ain't on their grizzly, they ain't working, they ain't finishing the Father's work, you ain't getting nothing. You can have all the wisdom in the world. If you ain't putting it to use, you ain't getting nothing. Like Frankie said on Set It Off, she ain't do nothing, so she ain't getting nothing. How much more you think the Lord looks at that, man? You're not getting nothing if you ain't working, man. Straight up, man. You got to go out there and plant seeds. You got to go out there and bring forth fruit, meat for repentance. These niggas over pushing this on Facebook got the brothers that's already questioning if they supposed to go out to the highways and byways. We trying to build them up by doing lessons like this. Tell them, man, go out there and do the work. No, go find your nearest camp location, your nearest purifying station, which is a camp, and cleanse yourself and go out there and finish Abba's work. But here it is, you got niggas on Facebook. They don't know how much damage they doing that, man. They have no clue how much damage they doing. They ain't got no clue, but they doing it. That's not righteousness, man. Telling a man that he don't got to go out to the highways and byways to do the work. We know you got to keep the law. That's where the work start. We know you teach people, that you run into, but you're specifically told to go out to the highways and hedges and do the work. Judge your people, which means show them where they're in sin and show them how to come out of sin, how to repent. That's judging your people. That's doing the work. But you got brothers really saying that you ain't got to do that. Now let's see what Yahushua said. Yahushua said in John 4:34, Yahushua said unto them, my meat is to do the will of him that sent me and to finish his work. Say not. So look, he says, and Yahushua is calling this the work. He said to finish his work, right? This is doing the work. He says, say not ye, there are yet 4 months, and then come his harvest. He says, don't be looking at the world and saying, we got enough time. The MOTB, it ain't here yet. It ain't here just yet. I can kind of see it creeping through the door. They mention it, but it's not here yet. They're not really strict with it yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, nation against nation, Ukraine and Russia, they ain't really fighting like that no more. America, they ain't really into it with nobody. You judging matters like that. You trying to look and see that you got a little bit more time to do foolery. Yahushua told you not to do that. He says, say not ye, there are yet 4 months, and then come his harvest. Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes, mean look, pay attention, and look on the fields, which is the earth, for they are white, all ready to harvest. The people are ready to be woken up. But guess what? You got to go out to the highways and byways to do that. It says, and he that reapeth, because guess what? And I'm going to say this. I'm saying that boldly because family members, friends, they already know what's going on. They already know. They already see. They already running away from the light. So to hell with them, man. It says, and he that reapeth receiveth wages and gathereth fruit unto life eternal. You do that by going out to the highways and byways. I mean, bro, it's that simple. Brothers make things complicated. And they want, do a lesson over it. If you listening, if you disagree, do a lesson and show us another way to do the work. Please. It says that both he that soweth and he that reapeth may rejoice together. And herein is that saying true. One soweth and another reapeth. I sent you to reap that whereupon ye bestowed no labor. Other men labored, and ye are entered into their labors. Right? That goes to the elders and the prophets and apostles that was before us. We enter into their labors. We're helping to finish the work that was already set up. And guess what? They went out to the highways and byways, man. So there ain't no getting around that. So going back, let me pull up. I can just pull this one. Let's go here. This is what Paul said. But Paul said in 1 Corinthians chapter 6:2, do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? We're going to be judging, Lord willing us. Let me not put myself in there. As bad as I want to be in that, the Lord's, he says, do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if the world shall be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters? That's why I said you have to grow in the law, man. You have to. You got to be able to judge the smallest matters. Like going back to 1 Kings chapter 3. Let's pull that up. Judging the smallest matters and great matters. Small matters and great matters. 1 Kings. 1 Kings chapter 3, and let's start at this is what the Lord said unto Solomon. It says, I'm going to start at 10. And the speech pleased the Lord that Solomon had asked this thing. And God said unto him, because thou hast asked this thing, and has not asked for thyself long life. You're not supposed to be praying for that. Neither has asked riches for thyself. Not supposed to be asking for that. Nor has asked the life of thine enemies. Not supposed to be asking for that. But has asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment, to be able to judge your people. What does that go back to? Wisdom. So Solomon simply asked for wisdom, man. That's why you have the book called The Wisdom of Solomon, because the Lord gave him so much wisdom to be able to judge his people. And we're about to get a situation. He says, behold, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and an understanding heart, so that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee. That's the kind of wisdom I desire, the wisdom that sits next to the throne. That's what I desire to have. And it says, and I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days. And if thou wilt walk in my ways to keep my statutes and my commandments, as thy father David did walk, then will I lengthen thy days. So he said, you didn't even ask me for all of those things. You asked me for wisdom to judge my people, so I'm going to give you all of that anyways. That's how cold the Lord is, man. It says, and Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream. And he came to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and offered up a burnt offering, and offered peace offerings, and made a feast to all his servants. Then came there two women. This is the first situation of him using wisdom. This is a judgment call. Then came there two women that were harlots unto the king, and stood before him. And the one woman said, O my Lord, I and this woman dwell in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass the third day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also. And we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we two in the house. So we both had a child. It's me and a woman living in the same house. We both had our child at the same time, and there was nobody else in the house, just me and her. It says, and this woman's child died in the night because she overlaid it. She slept on it. And she arose at midnight and took my son from beside me while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I arose up in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I had considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son, which I did hear. So this is a crazy situation. You'll be like, damn, so, a person, an ordinary person like me, we gonna be like, damn, like, how will we do this? How will we do this? How will we determine whose baby is whose? We don't even know these women. And she came to the king with this kind of situation. This calls for wisdom. So let's see how Solomon handled it. It says, and the other woman said, nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, no, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king. So they planned tug of war with words. Then said the king, the one said, this is my son that liveth, and thy son is dead. And the other said, nay, but thy son is the dead son, and my son is the living. So he recited what they said. And the king said, bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, divide the living child in two, and give half to the one and half to the other. So the child that's alive, cut the baby in half and give one half to the one woman and the other half to the other woman. Now you're about to see, I know you understand the wisdom behind this. Then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. Right, her stomach start to turn. You know, you get the butterflies. Your stomach start turning when something happened to you or somebody close to you. You know, your stomach start to hurt. You feel like you gotta throw up. You got the butterflies. You gotta go take a shit now. You're getting butterflies. Like Day on next Friday, when they was about to go handle that, he started getting butterflies because he was getting scared. And this is how the woman was. It says, and she said, "Oh my Lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it." But the other said, "Let it be neither mine nor thine, but divided." So we know whose child it is just off of that. Only a woman whose child is already dead would want that for another woman. My child dead, your child need to die now. So we know whose baby it is just by that. So Solomon used complete wisdom in this situation. It says, then the king answered and said, "Give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof." That's how he determined that situation. The woman who said, "Nah, let her have it. Don't even kill it. Just let her have it. That's cool." Because she would rather for her child to be alive than dead. That is a beautiful situation. That is a beautiful situation that he judged. Right? A beautiful situation. Then the king answered and said, and think about it like this, even the woman who didn't want the child to die, let's say that it wasn't her child and she didn't want the child, I would give her the child anyways. She more worthy to have it. Why would you want any child to die? Only way you would want a child to die is if your child is dead already. You already in that situation. You want to see that happen to others. That's how he judged this situation. Then the king answered and said, "Give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof." And all Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged. And they feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of God was in him to do judgment. This is the fact of the matter. They heard the judgment of the king had judged, and they saw the wisdom of God and, was in him to do judgment. That's the fact of the matter. And that's something we have to be ready for. We got to be, judging small matters first, like Paul is talking about. Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? 1 Corinthians 6:2. And if the world shall be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters? Straight up, man. You got to be able to judge the smallest matters. If not, then what? How you a judge? I know a lot of people, they expect the laws to just be written on their inward part, and they are part of 144K, and they ain't did nothing. They ain't did now nada. Straight up, man. So Wisdom of Solomon chapter 3. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 3 and 6. It says, "As gold in the furnace have he tried them and received them as a burnt offering." Right? This is where the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding come in. The experience, everything that comes, that comes with it. The wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You've been through it. You know how to deal with this situation. That's wise. Only a fool will keep doing the same thing and expect different results. Only a fool. A wise man will do it differently. So he's growing in wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. He's growing in judgment. Right? So it says, verse 7, "And in the time of their visitation, they shall shine and run to and fro like sparks among stubble. They shall judge the nations and have dominion over the people, and their Lord shall reign forever. They that put their trust in him shall understand the truth, and such as be faithful in love shall abide with him. For grace and mercy is to his saints." Just like Paul said, the saints shall judge the world, and he have care for his elect. Right? So it says, they shall judge the nations and have dominion over the people. So not just judging our people, we're actually going to be judging the heathens also. But their judgment is different from ours. We're going to be judging our people and with blessings, with wisdom, with knowledge, we're going to be judging our people in that manner. But the heathens, we're going to be judging them with hardcore bondage, making sure that they are building up the world. They cleaning up everything that they destroyed. That's judgment. right? And that's what we was just dealing with right here. It says justice. And we read in 2 Thessalonians 1 and 6 that it's a righteous thing to recompense tribulation to them that trouble us. That's called justice. That's what judgment is about. That's what justice is about, right? So we're going to make them clean up the earth and then build our kingdom just like how they made us do, right? Just like they made us do. And that's a big decision, right? Privilege, due, proper, fitting, measure, fitness, custom, manner, plan. That's what we're going to do, man. We're going to judge our people and we're going to judge the heathens. But it's going to be different judgments. Now, I want to pull up this. Let me go to Psalms chapter 147. Well, this is Psalms 147 and 19. He shewed his word unto Jacob. The word is the law, statutes, commandments. His statutes and his judgments unto Israel. So we know the judgments of the Lord. We understand when certain things are happening. We just never do nothing about it as a people collectively. He have not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. So when judgment is being pushed forth in the earth, only the children of Jacob is going to be able to want to do it, man. Because he have not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. So we are the only ones that's going to be ruling in that day, judging our people, the 12 tribes of Israel, and judging the heathens in righteousness also by giving them tribulation, right? Because they troubled us. It's a righteous thing. That's going to be righteousness, man. Right? So look, I want to show you this. I got to pull this up on how we're going to be teaching our people. So you got to be able to judge the smallest matters, man, if you want to be a part of that. And it's not even just being a part of 144K. All our people going to be judging. No, all our people going to be handling business, man, making certain judgment matters. But the 144K is the ones that's going to come down with these judgments from Yahushua. They the ones that's going to come down with those judgments. Like, Yahushua want us to do this, that, and the four. I can't tell you what. But these are the ones that's going to be set up all around the earth, making sure that Yahushua's judgments are being Yahushua's judgments are being set up on the earth. So Isaiah 66 and 19, it says, and I will set up a sign among them, and I will send those that escape of them unto the nations. So you got to understand this. I want you to understand this. America is the main stage in the Lord's movie. The ones that get saved out of America is more likely the 144K. Because if you read in Matthew chapter 24, I believe it is, where he said that then shall he go and gather the elect across the four corners of the earth, roughly paraphrasing. But the 144K is most likely coming out of America. And when he deliver us, he's going to set us, Lord willing us, in the wilderness, and we're going to go to these other nations and then name some of the nations, and we're going to bring them back to the wilderness and teach them. And this is the one where the precept come in, is where Yahushua says, the ones that do not want me to reign over them, bring them before me and slay them. The ones that don't listen, he commanded us, Lord willing us, to kill them. So he says, I will set up a sign among them, and I will send those that escape of them unto the nations. We're talking about our people, that's in Tarshish, that's in Pul, that's in Lud, that draw the bow to Tubal and Javan, to the isles afar off, that have not heard my fame. Give me 1 second. Okay, come on, I had to go handle something. I forgot where I was. So we're going to be, it says that right here, to the isles afar off that have not heard my fame. So there's our people that's in these other nations in the midst of China, Japan, all of these nations, Arabia, that has not heard the fame of the Lord, man. It says, neither have seen my glory, and they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles. And the Gentiles is our people, straight up. And that's why it says in the next verse, and they shall bring all your brethren for an offering unto the Lord out of all the nations. Right? So the ones that he set in the wilderness first from America, he's going to command them to go out into these nations that's round about and bring our people back into the wilderness. And it says, and they shall bring all your brethren for an offering unto the Lord out of all the nations upon horses and in chariots and in litters and upon mules and upon swift beasts. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be a beautiful situation, man. And guess what? Those are judgment calls. Going out there and just sacking those nations and bringing our people back so that we can pass under the rod of the bond of the new covenant. That's all going to happen in the wilderness. So we got to go get our people and bring them back into the wilderness. It says, to my holy mountain, Jerusalem, said the Lord, as the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel into the house of the Lord, man. Now, I got another precept for this. It goes back to, it's still in Isaiah too, because Isaiah spoke a lot about this. So in Isaiah 11 and 11, it says, and it shall come to pass in that day, the same time we just read in Isaiah 66, that the Lord, one second. All right, Con. So it says, so like it, let me go back to it. Isaiah 11 and 11, it shall come to pass in that day, like we just read in Isaiah 66, that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left. And it's given us different nations from what we read in Isaiah 66. From Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the isles of the sea. So our people is everywhere. We know this already, though. We can confirm this. So it says, and he shall set up an ensign for the nation. So here we go again. Now I'm going to pull it up again, because look, Isaiah 66 said the same thing that we just read. He says, and I will set a sign among them. Right? So when we go back to Isaiah 11, he says the same thing, Isaiah 11 and 12. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth, man. Straight up. All praises to the Most High God. So now we got to go to the word sign or ensign. Let's see what this is talking about, this sign. Isaiah chapter 11 and 12. So it says a standard, an ensign, a pole, a banner, a sail, a sign. So the Lord is going to make sure that he's going to make, basically his glorious name is going to be known. That's going to be that banner. You know, when you wave a flag, a banner, or you got a pole where everybody can see the flag that's on it to let you know, like, this is like America. They get the pole and they stick it in the ground like, we own this now. That's the Lord lifting up that standard. Like it tells us in another precept is Isaiah 59, where he said that. He's setting his name up, man, in the earth. So Isaiah 59 and 19, it says, so shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west and his glory from the rising of the sun. So northeast, and west. I don't know why these things keep pulling up. Northeast, south, and west, right? When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. The same thing we reading for the blue letter. It's something lifted up, standard, signal, signal pole, ensign, banner. So the Lord gonna make it known who his people is, that he's dealing with them too. And it's gonna scare the nations. It's gonna strike fear in the nations that the almighty power is actually dealing with those nations that nation who you trying to destroy. So going back to Isaiah 11 and 12, and he shall set up an ensign, right? Like a standard, right? A pole, a banner for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, right? By sending, the ones that he put in the wilderness first. He's going to send them out from America. So we're going to get on the chariots. He's going to take us to the wilderness, drop us off, and he's going to give us orders to go out and gather our people from the rest of the nations that have not heard of the fame and glory of the Lord, right? And I should have started up because verse 10, in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. So that's beautiful. So it says, verse 13, the envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversary of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. This goes back to Ezekiel 37. It goes back to 1 Kings chapter 11, where the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom was split up. But Ezekiel 37 is where that the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom is that stick that's in the Lord's hand, which goes back to the 12 tribes chart. This is what it's talking about in verse 13, the 12 tribes chart, us being together once again. That's why you got Native Americans and so-called Mexicans on the line with Negroes. And without the Bible, that would never happen. Without the Bible, that would never happen. Understand how serious this is. So that's another pinpoint that going out to the highways and byways is important. Mexicans and Native Americans need to see other Mexicans and Native Americans on the same line in order with Negroes, man, and the other way around. It says, but they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west. They shall spoil them of the east together. Like I said, and it's talking about the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom when we be in the wilderness. When we go out to gather our people, it says right here that we're going to spoil these nations. And it says that we're going to do it what? Together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. This is this is where it all begins. This is where all the fun begins. And the Lord shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea. I believe that's it on that. Matter of fact, I'm going to keep going. And with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it in the seven streams, and make men go over dry shod. So he's gonna dry up certain rivers and seas so that our people can come, so they can come back to the wilderness. It says, and there shall be an highway for the remnant of his people. Right, when we gather in our people, they're going to be coming from different directions, and the Lord is going to make sure that the paths are dry so that they can. Right, which shall be left from Assyria, like as it was to Israel in the day that he came up out of the land of Egypt. So that is right there. I could have just left it off at the end of that, like as it was to Israel in the day that he came up out of the land of Egypt, man. All praises to the Most High, but you got to be able to judge matters. You got to be able to go to the law, the prophets, and the apostles, and show your people what's going on, why this happened, why that happened. You got to be able to do that. If you can't do that, you cannot call yourself. You can't even. Bro, where you think you're gonna be at? You got to build yourself up in the spirit. This ain't no game where you just sit around and wait for the Lord to do. Nah, the Lord gave you the wisdom. The scripture says, wisdom shall increase in the last days. And guess what? Wisdom is the performance of the law. We have to be able to judge our people, all right? And we have to be able to judge the heathen, man. We have to. So let me do this. See what I'm just talking about. So this is Isaiah 11 and 11. It says the restored remnant. Then it will happen on that day that the Lord will again acquire with his hand a second time the remnant of his people, who will remain from Assyria, from the lower Egypt, from Pathros, from Cush. You know, you get it. It says, verse 12, he will lift up a signal for the nations and assemble the outcasts of Israel and will gather the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. How is he going to do that? By his men. Not by his women and children, by his men. Then the jealousy of Ephraim will depart, and those who harass Judah will be cut off. Ephraim will not be jealous of Judah, and Judah will not harass Ephraim. Because, you know, I mean, that happens today. Ephraim, which is the whole northern kingdom, they are jealous of Judah. Why you got to be the main tribe? Why you the one that the Lord gave the royalty to? Why you this? And this just goes back all the way back to King Solomon, man. It goes all the way back. That's what we always fought. But then Judah will not harass Ephraim, right? We harass them about them not being our people. I heard at the word. Man, them motherfucking Mexicans is not us, man. Hey, them Mexicans is not, them Native Americans, them is Mongolians, man. And they don't know nothing. You harassing them with that. But they are a people. But it says Ephraim and Judah will unite and swoop down on the slopes of the Philistines towards the west. So not just in Philistine, but all of those areas towards Philistine on the west. Together they will plunder the sons of Arabs of the east. They will possess Edom and Moab, which is the south, and the sons of Ammon will be subject unto them. And the Lord will utterly destroy the tongue of the sea of Egypt, and with his scorching wind, he will wave his hand over the river. He will strike and divide it into 7 channels. He's going to make it smaller and he's going to dry it up and make it possible for people to walk over in sandals. I'm pretty sure it's still going to be water there, but he's going to be able to, it's going to be low pressure, low. And there will be a highway from Assyria for the remnant of his people who will be left, just as there was for Israel in the day when they came up out of the land of Egypt. All praises to the Most High God, man. And that's what we look forward to, right? That's what we look forward to in these last days, to be able to judge our people aright, man, and the nations. But I definitely got to do a part 2 on this because I got to go handle some business. Everything is, I got to go handle some business. But Lord willing, you was edified with this. And like I said, Lord willing, I can do a part 2 probably tomorrow. Probably do it at camp tomorrow. But, Lord willing, you can take something out of it and understand what's going to be happening and how you have to build yourself up in the spirit. You just cannot be just sitting around doing nothing and thinking that you're going to be a part of that number to be able to teach your people, man, and set them aright. That's a beautiful thing, being able to teach your people who they are and they come into the knowledge of the truth and they powerful, they strong and powerful. And you was a part of that. You didn't do it, you was a part of it, man. The Lord allowed you to be a part of that, man. All praises to the Most High God, man. Shalom.